Don't blink, it's your blink. Welcome to another video, welcome to another show. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're having a fantastic freaking day. Today we're eating something very special. I didn't do the thumbnail, this is the thumbnail. They say nothing beats a home-cooked meal. Well, I disagree. I think rice, spring roll, adobo, and sisig, yes sir, this is the meal that my boy cooked. My boy Shao. Nothing beats a home cooked meal except leftover from a amazing cook. So let's dig in right away. Super excited. You can see this sisig, super nice. Mmm. Feels really good. A bit too salty, but guess what? My boy did his best. Mmm. Oh wow. And it's so tasty. Mmm. We just made ourselves a small drink. Mmm. Freaking, whatchamacallit? Fruit punch crystal light. Dude, today was a rough day. I was actually pretty sad. Because I know, so fucking good. Wow. And it's just so good. I can't believe it. This is sisig. The spring roll. Just amazing. Just so good. And I'm being honest. Oh, actually I took off the paper here. Just demand. But yeah, so I was talking to the guy who made this. Shout out today. I was pretty sad, and it's like actually quite a crazy day. I keep on mentioning lately that life has a very weird way of presenting itself. This morning, the guy sent me a picture. My workplace is completely gone. I took out the machine, and I know they were not going to keep the machine away, but it's like a staying home. It's like moving out of your parents' house and realizing that, oh, I don't have a room anymore. And it's nuts because you know it's gonna happen, but when it happens, it's still so weird. Adobo baby. The reason the rest is like that is because they went to the freezer. Don't put cooked rice in the freezer. Meat meat, phenomenal. Up and down, bro. Mwah. And because a couple of hours later, I was talking with another friend, and she was mentioning capitalistic, and I was talking about wage slavery, and wage slavery is actually a subject that I mentioned on this very channel a couple of months ago. I want to come back to it. And because, whatchamacallit, it's such an important problem. So let's recap, right? Because it's confusing. I'm confusing, I know. I had this job, I left, I'm sad. I shouldn't be sad because it's a capitalistic machine. I was a wage slave. I'm not a wage slave because I don't have a job. But even the time that I have, it's my time to find another job. It's daunted, you know? And I want to make something clear that I didn't make clear before. So, basically, on paper, wage slavery is okay. Now, I know what I'm saying is crazy. Wage slavery, okay? Well, what's to maintain society? So, for example, we're gonna have a plumber. We're gonna have a landscape The guy who made this, he wants to become a welder. We need those. Because we need those, we're going to be actually saying, hey, we need you, we'll pay you. Alright? Now, on paper, this is great. Everybody does a community effort to be like, yo, we should keep the society good. I'll make my effort, but I'll get paid. Another person said, well, I cannot do that, but I can do something else. I'll get paid. But at the end, I'm still helping society become a better place, you know? So good. Shout out to Master Cook, bro. Master Cook. Wow. I don't know, paper, it makes sense. Now, what is the problem? It's when credit card gets involved. So the main problem, right, with the wage slavery, and what I was talking about last video, is with wage slavery, you work an hour, you get paid an hour. You don't get work, you don't get paid, right? And the best part about it is, for example, an hour of work should give me like, for example, $20. When I know that if I have a meal as a $35, I need to do 2 hours. Now, ultimately, if you're careful with your money, if you're smart with your money, you should be able to survive on a normal salary, right? Now, where people fuck up is when credit card gets involved. So you know you have a not only the credit card. So the credit card comes in and you're like, oh, I don't have a monetary power. I don't have to buy this. I'll put it on my credit card. I'll pay interest. I'm just able to get something that's bigger. And ultimately, you're like, okay, well, I wanted it. The price is reasonable. I get a discount. It's still expensive, but I can justify buying a car, a house. I can justify that, right? And then there's another problem, because what we're starting to see, and what is becoming more and more apparent, is that for an hour work, right? It's an hour of pay. Well, remember my example in the beginning? When I say you work an hour, you need $20. Well, let's say you go to the theater as a nicer price, and you're like, okay, well, I deserve it. I worked hard. This is my money. I'll go and do whatever the fuck I want with it. That's your right. You should be able to. But what wage slavery not explain is I worked an hour. I went to the theater. Ticket's gonna cost $9. The drink is gonna cost $3. The popcorn is gonna cost $5. My bus ticket is gonna be in total $20. Now, you're saying, oh, you're okay with cash? Not really, because when you go to the theater, right? It costs you time, and that's the problem with wage slavery. It's a devaluation of time. I'm working for $20 an hour. My neighbor is working for $25 an hour. Now, you could say one of his hours, although time-wise, the same value as my hours, it's worth more. Now, you could say, went to school, you got lucky, and it really makes sense, because technically, the problem with wage slavery is the time. So, with everybody, death is imminent. And we're all gonna die one day. So basically you have a number of hours. That's insane. When you realize that's really insane. So if you believe in fate and destiny and things like that, you now have the number of hours on Earth. I saw a documentary with Eddie Murphy that was saying, oh, 75 summer, 75 winter, 75 spring, 75 fall. if you're lucky, right? 300 season. Like, that's not a lot. Well, I'm 31 years old, and I had already 120. That's a lot. And then you realize that most important thing ever, the amount of cash I'm making in my life is no problem. It's no problem. I can find a job that's going to pay me twice of what I'm doing right now. And I can find a job that's only halfway there. And I'm like, bro, I still have the amount of hours. The cash I can make, the amount I can make is infinite. But the amount of time that I have isn't. And you see things with banks, with cars, with houses. You're borrowing money. You're not borrowing money per se. You're borrowing time. And the problem with that is money is an infinite source of revenue. Time isn't an infinite source of vitality. All that to say, yes, I went to the theater. That was a good movie. Man, that's 2 hours. Now, am I saying that you should be making money every single hours of your life? No. A third of your life is going to be spent sleeping. That's when you realize, well, that's when you realize the true crime that's way slavery. I'm messed up. I'm in a mistake. I'm in a mess. The true crime of wage slavery is insane. Insanity. Wage slavery is the worst. The true crime is I'm sleeping a third of the day. I'm working a third of the day. And a third of the day, I'm enjoying the money I made. So then, every single hour that I spend at work gathering cash. Now, the thing with money, right? You make money because you want to enjoy it. If they didn't give you the time to enjoy the money, you wouldn't need to work as much. It was a new law. They wanted to pass it in the US. And they were like, oh, we'll pay you the same for 32 hours instead of 40 hours. But this is nonsense because, yes, you're working less. You're working 8 hours less. That's perfect. But the reality is by working 8 hours less, you got 8 hours more to spend. And the more you spend, the more you need to work. So you think you're the winner by losing 8 hours. You're not the winner. The thing that you want to make money, work. You want to make money, go to work without your credit card. That's how you make money. It's not how much you make. It's how much you make per. It's profit. So we're seeing profit, which is crazy, right? And it's kind of cool because when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. So the profit of your life, the money I'm making versus the amount I'm spending is my profit. My profit is. This is quite complicated. This is really complicated stuff. My profit, right, is the money I don't spend. I make $20 an hour. I spend $12 an hour. My profit is 8. Now, my profit being 8, knowing that I make $20 an hour, holy shit. That the door open on its own. It's wind. Don't worry, it's just wind. But understand this, right? So salary minus spending, profit. Profit equal hours saved. And that's the crazy thing with wage slavery. So I make $20 an hour, right? Super simple stuff, super like generic stuff, but still you need to learn this. I make $20 an hour, I spend 12, I got 8 out of profit, right? And now you're like, okay, well, if I do 3 hours where I save $8, I make $24, so I save an hour. But if and only if I work $20 an hour and I spend $10, then every 2 hours I get an hour save. Now I know what you're saying. Oh, I cannot predict a lot of things. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of things that you can predict. You can kind of predict what's gonna happen. You cannot predict a car accident. You cannot predict your car breaking down. You cannot predict your rent going higher. But you can predict one thing, right? So you see the increase in the product at the grocery store. You can run and get the special. Now, why am I saying this? And it does sound like I'm being cheap. I'm not being cheap. It's all a question of perception, right? So there's this law, the generic law, and every single sphere of society, every single sphere of economy, which is the demand and the offer. So the more demand, the better the offer. The lesser demand, the worse the offer, right? So if per se, right? I'm a dude. This is to me. This is really interesting, and I'm sorry if it's not interesting to me. It is. So offer versus demand, right? And that's insane. So this is again very very basic knowledge of economy. So you have the offer versus demand, right? I order 20 apple, right? And those 20 apple, they're gonna cost me they're gonna cost me $20, right? So cost plus and as a seller, I'm like, holy shit, dude, 20 fucking apple for $20? That's amazing. Well, not really, because you need to have your. That's what I was talking about in one of my videos of markup. So you have your cost, you have your transport. So I need to get the what you call it, merchandise or the stock of the stock in the store, right? I need to pay for my transport. And I realize I need to pay for my store, so rent. Then I realize that I have to pay for my employees, so salaries, right? So what is super fucking insane here is I have 20 apple that cost me $20, but total bill is gonna be 50. Right? Let's say 50. Fuck. Let's say $60, okay? Let's say $60. Now you understand what I mean. My apple cost me $1, right? And at the end, it cost me $60 for that product. So what I'm gonna do is I got 10 apples. I'm gonna sell every single. I got 20 apples. I'm gonna sell every single apple to make a profit. So I need to sell my apple at $3 and not $3 an apple to make like to not lose money, and I want to make a profit. So I'll charge you $4. Now again, no consider a problem. You should be able to charge $4. You did pay your rent. You did pay your employee. That's okay. You did pay more. My job as a consumer isn't for the merchant to lose cash. Now the issue is, I'm gonna buy an apple and I'm gonna be paying for a lot of stuff. But my wage and my salary isn't increased. They don't say, well, I'm going to give him a better salary because he needs to pay for the rent of the merchant. He needs to pay for the employee of the merchant. So this wage doesn't move, but everything else increase. And that's why we're seeing inflation, and that's why we're seeing that the prices are rising. And we're seeing our power to buy is a lesser. So the problem with wage slavery isn't how much you're making an hour. The problem with wage salary, I said it before. Oh, you don't work, you don't make money. That's not the problem. The problem is how much hours I need to work for it to be to buy something. And in my 40 hours week, am I making enough to buy every single thing that I need? And if I'm not, then I should sacrifice it. But sacrificing doesn't seem quite fair because you're a wage slave. If you sacrifice, so there's two schools of thought. If you sacrifice on basic need, it's not fair because you did work 40 hours. You did your wage slavery. You should be able to be able to survive, right? If you have you buy a lot of stuff, like for example, you got a gambling issue, you got a gambling addiction, you're buying alcohol, you're going to a restaurant, you're going to theater. That's all on you because you're like, okay, well, guess what? I understand that I spent a lot in places I didn't need to spend. Now this is my fault, but if you're spending and you feel that your spending is justified, then you're like, what am I supposed to do? So then you go against the employer. And you're like, oh, I want more money. That's the first really solution that you're finding. You're like, yeah, well, if I make more money, I got a better power to buy shit. All of my problems are solved. Well, none of your problems are solved because technically you make more money, you're gonna spend more money. That's a rule of thought. I have a power to buy, I'm gonna buy. I have this power, I'm gonna use it, right? Also the issue is that by your boss giving you a raise, you're not facing any problem, because by your boss giving you a raise, what did you do? I dropped a beer. It's okay, it was empty. By your boss giving you a raise, what do? You increase the salary, so the profit again of the company is affected. The profit of the company being affected, what they're gonna do? They're gonna raise the price. So it doesn't really matter how much you're making an hour, it matters how much you're spending an hour. And that's wage slavery. Is the fact that no matter how hard I work, no matter how much I make, no matter how good my job is, it'll never be enough. And that's a problem with wage slavery. It's not necessarily the fact that, oh, I went in, or I didn't go in, or I don't have a good enough job. And it tricks you into thinking the problem with the boss. The boss should be paying you more. It tricks you into thinking, well, you should go to school, right? You should go to school. Because schools are going to give you a better job. Well, technically yes, but technically no. So you see, the school aren't going to give you an education for free. My battery is low, I'm going to have to put it in the bag. It's annoying. It'll tell me like every 2-3 seconds, right? And that sucks. So what I'm trying to say is, the schools aren't free. You're going to have to pay for the school. And I don't know if you noticed, but the school, you're already paying it with your taxes. So you're paying double. And guess what's worse than not being able to afford things that you want? Guess what's worse than that? There's one thing that's really worse. I'll give you time. Debt. Why? A debt, and for every single hour that you spend working, you make less. And then they'll tell you, no, it's your mistake. You have a debt, you have to pay the debt. And you're being taught as a kid, right? When you borrow something, give it back. But when you borrow money and you don't understand the value of money, you're fucked. And that is the biggest issue here. Is the undervalue of cash. I understand that my hours are worth $20. Which is crazy. This is absolutely insane. I understand that my hours worth are $20. Do I understand what $20 is worth? No. Do I understand that $20 get me this, that, and this? No. You gotta understand is I want more. My job is a problem, and my work is a problem. Better job, better pay. All my problems are solved. No, bro, no. Doesn't matter if you're making $20 an hour. Doesn't matter if you're making $25 an hour. As long as you don't understand cash, you're fucked. Now, you come with a problem. And I know what you're gonna ask me. How do I solve shit? Well, the reality is, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. You're gonna find a way to flood the system. You're gonna find a way. If you look at the rich people, they don't pay tax. If you look at the rich people, they don't own anything. It's all debt. Right? The problem with that is, people think the answer is to steal. But when you steal, everybody else is going to pay for you. I saw something really, 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 really sad. And it's going to sound like capitalistic values, but I saw a, what do I call it? I saw a Walmart in Washington, D.C. be completely wrecked. People stealing from it, people destroying it. And like, guys, don't you understand? This Walmart isn't the enemy. The economy is your enemy. And by destroying it, you're causing loss. And then who's gonna pay for the loss? People. And who's gonna pay for the loss? Honest people. So the honest people are constantly pushing dishonest people. Alright, they're gonna go to jail. Now, how do we maintain jail? Taxes, yes. By paying taxes, what do you need to do? You need to work. So once again, you're paying for the unreasonable people. And if there's no I'm full. That was delicious, bro, but I'm full. And it sucks because the reality is I doubt that everybody's gonna be okay. But life, you can see two things. The constant good doesn't exist, and nobody's losing. Because the jail are empty, it doesn't mean that you're gonna be paying less. I'm full. We had a good talk. Now that I love you, that you matter. I'll see you guys soon. Peace. Delicious though.